So first up, let's see what's in the box here. Did not come with any tape on this. It's extremely easy to open. They are covering the keyboard, which is awesome. User manual, which I'll probably only ever look at for, you know, figuring out which buttons do the RBG and whatnot. Keyboard, obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this stuff out, put it on the table here. Looks like that should be all the accessorize. I'm actually gonna put this away before I hurt myself. All right, look at that. Looking good. It is time, my friends, for the inaugural first type. Okay, these are the stock brown switches that come with it. They are not Gateron. A lot of these keyboards will come with Gateron, but apparently not these. So in the bag, first and foremost, here are the little feet that go underneath. Optionally, these are actually magnetic. We shall see how that works in just a second. There's obviously a USB 2.0 to USB-C right here. I have like 50 bajillion of these, but it's nice. It looks nice and long as well. It's got like a nice little Velcro thing that stays on there. Oh yeah, that's plenty long. I don't like it when they're any shorter than that. Here are some extra brown switches. These are RK, as in Royal Kludge, brand brown switches, I believe. The keyboard does appear dirty right out of the bat, which is a little bit weird. At first glance, everything looks really, not clean. Clean as in smooth, clean as in, not clean as in there's actually dust all over it, which is kind of weird. Here is the 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle, which we can use for the computer. And everything looks nice and great so far. I'm gonna turn it on in a minute. So a very quick overview of this keyboard. They say it's an 80% layout. It's actually not, because that usually has a little bit of space in between the top rows and the numpad a little bit, or not the numpad, but the arrow keys. I believe it's actually 75%. I think that's what most people refer to it as now. This is a hot swappable keyboard. So if we come in here, we should be able to just yank these switches out really quick. I hate these types of switch pullers. I'm actually opening up my own with a little, you know, plastic grip or whatever. It is indeed hot swappable. There we go. This keyboard actually has 3 ways to connect to your computer. Obviously, we saw the dongle, 2.4 gigahertz, generally really fast and steady, but you can use Bluetooth 5.0 as well. And of course, last but not least, the USB-C cable right there. This does have RBG backlit with like 15 or 20 different modes. We're going to test that out in just a second when I plug it into the computer. Obviously, MECH compatibility with your 3 or 5 pin switches. I'm actually going to stick that back. Perhaps the feature I'm most excited about, I'm not sure how to do it, is removing the frame. I'm actually not sure what's going on here. Oh, yeah, leverage, okay. So that's actually cool. You can go with or without the frame, opening up the keyboard nicely. A lot of people like that. It does let a little bit more light shine through from the RGB or whatnot. In fact, that's the GMMK keyboard I have over there. Of course, has this thing. But I'm actually going to leave the case on for now and just kind of like play around with it more. It just snaps back on. I love that. That is just one little cool piece of connectivity right there. Another thing would be the 2 USB 2.0 pass-throughs in case you want to, I'm actually going to try putting in my macro pad right here and seeing if that fires it up, and the, you know, the response rate's nice. But I love USB pass-throughs, and this one has 2 of them. This one is wireless, so of course it does have a battery. They say it takes about 5 to 6 hours for full charge. We're going to test that. And that it should last up to 200 hours. I believe they mention around 3,700 mAh. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. Pretty standard as far as Bluetooth keyboards go, but we're going to test it out to make sure it works all right. It does come stock with some nice ABS double shot keycaps. They actually feel really nice and smooth. I'm not going to lie. It feels really good, really satisfying. Everything's nice and smooth. Responds great. It really looks and feels really great. It sounds okay. These are the browns. I'm actually going to put some Glorious Pandas in here in just a little while, just to have some fun and see how much better. I have both unlubed and factory lubed Glorious Pandas there we'll put on there. And the other thing I want to do is just test out the feet right here. So these are magnetic. That's actually pretty cool. You just snap them on top there. I don't know if I have them correct there or if that's upside down. That's a good question. It actually snapped much better the other way, so I'll assume that. And of course they have the pad right there. I have heard complaints that the magnets will actually become unglued after a little bit of use. So far, I'm kind of scratching at it and they actually seem to be on okay. But who knows, with time, these might actually come off. I could foresee putting a little bit more glue on there and it probably will be okay. But they are nice and sturdy and solid. There you go. As far as build quality, by the way, this is really, really well constructed. I feel like the frame and yeah, it's just really good. Of course, this frame does come off right here, but you can see like I'm trying to like bend this and get this to bend. It's not budging. It seems like a really well constructed thick keyboard, which is really great. You never know. You gotta take it to the coffee shops and bang it around. You want it to, you know, continue to work. The only other thing I'll notice is that you probably will need a serial number in order to properly register and connect it to the software. It does come with software. I've heard it's terrible. I'm actually going to fire it up and see in just a second. On-off switch right here. And this one, I actually have no idea that it says B or G. I don't know if that's like Bluetooth or the dongle. That's what I'm guessing. Gigahertz. Maybe that's what G stands for. Don't actually know. We're going to find that out in just a second. Make sure everything works right. We're going to head over here. I'm going to plug it into my computer, test, fire up the RBG, as well as do like a nice little typing test, sound test. Really quick, I do want to actually point out that you could see the RBG functions as the, you know, what keys to press right there. So function home, function end, I assume, in just a second I'll test it, these are going to turn on, and I think this one is swap colors. This is like to change between RGB modes. And this will obviously make the animations go faster and then slower and then brighter and then softer with the function key, obviously. Also, this is how we get to Bluetooth. I just looked at the instruction manual. Function Q, W, or E will swap between up to 3 Bluetooth devices. I've always kind of enjoyed that. And apparently you can long press function and then Q, W, or E to start pairing for those specific channels right there. I'm on a Mac. This says Win Mac. I'm actually not positive what that does, but it could be swapping around this for the command key. This is usually control. You swap control and command or something like that, I believe. I usually do it manually for my mechanical keyboards, but it looks like there might be a way to toggle between them right there. In which case, that's actually pretty cool. I'm actually really happy that I don't have to go into my settings. If I want this to work on a Mac, this to be command, then I can just go here. We're gonna try that. All right, so let's give it a little plug in. I'm gonna go wired first to also let it charging. It's not in the middle like most of my keyboards that I own, but it's actually over here towards the side. Plug it in, and it's not doing anything to my computer so far. All right, so believe it or not, I figured it out, and that is my normal USB-C cable was not functioning correctly. It actually was not going in there. It felt really loose. It wouldn't snap in, which is kind of odd. And I don't know. I used the one they gave me, and it is a little bit larger. It snapped right in. So there's that, I suppose. And now we seem to be functioning. The keyboard dialog did pop up on my thing here. Okay, so it actually took me a minute to make this work on my computer, and part of it is when you are plugged in, you want to make sure your power is actually set to off. The power switch needs to be off. It's kind of weird. When it's on, that P will actually blink, and I looked in the instruction manual. It didn't tell me actually what to do, but I was curious. I shut the power off, and boom, it fired right up. Now, I pressed function and then the A and the S key, and sure enough, that swapped out where the command versus control is. So if you are on a Mac, do function S. If you're on Windows, it was like that by default, but you can also switch back and forth, I suppose, if you really wanted to. All right, and let's test out the RBG funness for a minute. So function and then home will swap the modes. You can see a little flashing on the video right here, but that's actually because of my camera. It doesn't look like that in person. Don't know why it's really doing that. Crazy waves. Looks like everything is working absolutely fine. There's a bunch of different stuff that it does. I'll let you guys play around with that, but it works just fine. It looks great. So let's go ahead and start a little typing test with the default RK brown switches that comes with it here. So I actually really love the way these switches and the default keycaps feel. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a tactile switch kind of guy, and this actually feels really good out of the bat. I just want to say that up front. Sounds pretty good too. Very muted, not very loud browns. Right now, I'm actually going to put in some both lubed and unlubed Glorious Pandas. It might take me a little while. We'll come back and we'll see what that sounds like now. All right, the very last thing I want to do is just to double check that I can do the Bluetooth mode. Whoops. All right, and it looks like the keyboard is working right there. This is working nicely. All right, next up, I'm actually going to turn the keyboard off again, and then switch the B over to a G. Make sure I have my dongle plugged in here. And again, I have to redo the Windows and Mac bit. Function S. Okay, so this is obviously not working really well with my particular setup here. I'm actually gonna swap where this dongle is. All right, so right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you that this does not work that great for me right now. The Mac Mini I have is 2 feet away. The dongle's in the top left. You can't actually see it right now, but it's the closest bit to the keyboard that I actually have. It should be working, in my opinion, a little bit better. Okay, the Bluetooth actually worked far better than this. So I'm actually gonna switch back, take my dongle out, if you know what I mean, and go back to Bluetooth. So while I download the software, and we're going to see exactly, first of all, if it works and how it works, I will also talk about one of my favorite things about this keyboard, and that is it's cheap. And it's available on Amazon for about 85 bucks at the time of this recording. Of course, they got blue, brown, and red switches, black frames and keycaps, and of course, white, like I just saw. It's actually a little bit cheaper on the RK website, rkgamingstore.com. It's 80 bucks. And I did notice, you don't see it right now, but when I first landed on the website, you might even be able to open this up in incognito and see what's going on here. Yep, 10% off your first order. So that's actually pretty nice. I'm not sure how much shipping will be to your area, but if you grab this, 10% off, that's 8 bucks. So $72 plus shipping, whatever that ends up being, versus the 84, 85 bucks on Amazon. So looking at software here, I looked at my serial number. That's what they mean by SN. Instructions aren't super clear, but good enough, I suppose. I found my serial number, and it happened to be this one right here. This is Microsoft Windows applications are not supported by Mac OS. So these are the READMEs that do not provide any information on Windows versus Mac, but they do have instructions for finding this. The serial number on your board, as well as how to install and that sort of stuff. I'm just going to assume at this point that their software does not work with Mac OS. It does not say anywhere on the website. I even opened up the Amazon questions and reviews and tried to look in here, and I couldn't find anybody that would actually comment and give me the right answer if I could use the software on Mac OS or not. So I am not going to show it at this point, just because I keep getting this thing and I'm not really sure how to bypass that. I might be able to, but I don't know. All right, let's finish up with some likes and dislikes, my own personal preferences when it comes to the RK84. In the likes department, I like the way it looks. I'm actually just a pretty big fan of the white case. I love that you can also, of course, remove the frame. Got a nice little, like, almost lower profile look. Now you can see a little bit more RBG. It feels nice. Speaking of RBG, the RBG looks great. It works really well. Generally just like really happy with that. The board is solidly constructed. It feels great. It looks great. And it actually sounds pretty good. One last thing that I really like is the price. $89 or 80 bucks, somewhere around there on Amazon or their website or literally Walmart. You can grab this board. You almost can't go wrong. It's a really great keyboard for that price. It really is. But let's move on to the dislikes. I'm also just going to talk about the OG GMMK, which is actually my preferred keyboard of choice. It's the first one I ever bought, and I just love it. By the way, $89, $90, $100, $90, only 10 more bucks. Think about that. I personally prefer that board, but it does have less features overall, i.e. no Bluetooth or 2.4 gigahertz dongle, etc. But that leads me to my cons, and that is connectivity and or getting up and running with this keyboard was not easy. In fact, it didn't work right even after I set it up the first time. In fact, actually the thing that drives me the most crazy about this, I have a Mac. If you're on a PC, it may not matter, but I literally had to do the Function S thing to switch from Windows to a Mac configuration, like for my command, i.e. like control for Windows users, every time I turn this on. For me, that's a huge turnoff right there. It's the smallest thing. The dongle also, I was extremely disappointed with. Again, my Mac Mini was very close to my keyboard, and I've run a lot of different mice and keyboards from little bitty USB dongles like this, USB 2.0, I believe. And I've never had a single problem. But this one gave me massive problems. It was literally unusable for me. Again, my computer's not that far away either. It's not like it's down on the floor. I've had no problem using other devices like this. I'm not sure why this one caused me problems, but it did. Actually, one more thing in the like department. The Bluetooth so far has been flawless for me. It connects fast, instantaneously as soon as I turn the thing on, and there's zero lag. It's zero latency. There's no problems with the Bluetooth. Two more really small cons in my department, and that is I don't like the magnetic feet. I feel like I'm never going to use these ever, and I'm just constantly worried about losing them, even though I'm not using them, which is really weird. I almost wish they were like little fold-down flaps like most keyboards have, but I suppose if you use it all the time, you probably wouldn't have any trouble with it. And I gotta be honest, the sound. I like the sound on the whole, but it does feel a little echoey. But again, this is like really nitpicky and personal preference, and especially if you are a noob, in a good way, to mechanical keyboards, and this was your first purchase or your second purchase for like 80, 90 bucks on Amazon, I don't think it's that bad. In fact, I think it's actually really nice. So if you can also get the software to work, if you can get the connectivity the way you want it, and you like the way it looks, and you'll have to trust me on the feel or whatnot, actually this is a fantastic keyboard. All right, time to type this video goodbye. I'm actually going to update this particular keyboard with two things. Number one being sound dampening foam. I went to Home Depot literally yesterday, and I'm gonna take this bad boy apart and put some sound dampening foam in there. And I'm also going to switch out the keycaps for palm jellies, because I'm a madman, and we're gonna see what that sounds like. So I will put that in another video. I'll leave it up here when it's live. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Adios.